You're listening to A Tiny Homestead, the podcast comprised entirely of conversations with homesteaders, cottage food producers, and crafters. I'm your host, Mary Lewis. This episode is sponsored by Greenbush Twins Company, where creativity and community grow hand in hand. Just like a thriving garden or a well-loved homestead, the best things are built with care, purpose, and heart. Through thoughtful design, storytelling, and handcrafted goods, they're helping people celebrate a simpler, more meaningful way of living. Learn more at Greenbush Twins and Company. Today I'm talking with Joe and John at Farmstand, fresh and local in Oregon. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm good. So number one, how's the weather there? I always ask, how's the weather?
John, you want to take that?
Yeah. It's been pretty decent. Yesterday was hot. It was in the low 90s. Today is supposed to be more of the same, not quite as hot, but we're getting a little smoke blown in from some of the local fires, unfortunately. But overall, pleasant.
Nice. And we are at the end of September, so things are going to get better. Well, they're going to get better and then they're going to get worse, but it's going to be very fallish here soon.
Mm-hmm. How's the weather in Minnesota?
It is lovely. I was just pulling up my WeatherBug app to tell you what the temperature is. It is 71 right now. The high today, they're saying, is supposed to be 87, but I don't think it's going to make it because it's overcast. I don't think we're going to get to 87. And it's just nice out right now. There's no rain, and it's not hot, and it's not muggy. It's just lovely considering a month and a half ago we had 3 weeks of tropical dew points for 3 weeks straight. It was horrible. As I keep saying, Minnesota doesn't get a 3-week stretch of tropical dew points ever, so it was very weird.
Really?
That's interesting. I feel like Minnesota, do you guys get really hard winters? So the summertime is like kind of in the Northwest. Everybody just lives for these few months of the year. We're always looking forward to it. Is it the same there?
Yes, but the last 2 winters here have not been nearly as hard as they have been up till now. So usually the area that I live in, an hour southwest of Minneapolis, you'd be getting at least 5-6 feet total for the winter of snow.
Yeah.
The last 2 winters, we've been lucky in our specific little area to get even a foot of snow for the entire winter. It has been the weirdest thing.
Huh.
So I can't give you an answer on what the winters are like anymore because they're changing just like they're changing everywhere. But yes, true dyed-in-the-wool Minnesotans, which I am not, live for summer. I am a transplant to Minnesota, and even after living here for 30 years, I'm like, it's weather. Wait 5 minutes, it'll change because that's what I grew up with in Maine. So I don't think I have the same culture about it that people who grew up here have.
Sure.
So, and that's fine. I don't have to. I just have to agree. I have to smile and nod a lot here because sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's not what I grew up with. But okay, yes, you're right. So, anyway, can you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and what you do?
Yeah, go for it, Joe.
Okay. Yeah. My family of 6, my wife and I, 4 kids, live in Clackamas County here in Oregon. We have a small 5-acre hobby farm where we raise pigs and chickens and bunnies, and we have dogs and cats and all of the things. We homeschool our kids, have a little community co-op in Malala that the kids will go to. And full time, I'm a fireman for Clackamas Fire District, currently working in Damascus, Oregon with John, which is kind of how this whole business kind of got going. Being that John and I work together all the time, we got to brainstorm and talking to come up with this idea.
Okay, and John?
Yeah, so I grew up in Southern Oregon. Came from a big family. I'm the fifth out of 9 kids. And yeah, grew up on acreage. Met my wife down there, and ended up getting hired in the fire service up in the Portland area, and moved my family up here. And we currently live in like a suburb of the Portland metro area, um, a little town called Westland, and we have a little garden. And my wife and I have 4 kids as well. And yeah, I met Joe a handful of years back, and we were fortunate enough to um, get placed together on the squad, working together out in Damascus. And yeah, this year we jumped into the 4-H game with our kids. My oldest daughter really wanted to raise some rabbits, so we just last week finished up fair, which was it was our first 4-H year participating. Growing up, we always went to the fair and had friends doing that, and my wife's family was big into that as well. So yeah, so just a fireman, a dad, a husband, and yeah, enjoying this farm stand journey that we're on. When Joe came up with the idea and shared it with me, I was like, yeah, that is a fantastic idea. Because my wife also, she makes tallow, and we had a garden. We always have a garden, but last year our garden was going crazy with cukes and zooks, we called it.
Yeah.
And so it was like, man, we got more than we know what we can do with. And we just put a box out for free, and still it was like there were so many. It's just people, would come and take as many as they wanted, but it's like hard to get rid of them all, and so yeah, when Joe came up with this idea last year, it was like, yep, that's genius. We should make that work. So
Okay, so I want to talk about the farm stand idea, but I also want to say thank you for being firefighters, because with all the wildfires that we've been going through in this country for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, it seems like they're just getting more and more and worse and worse. So thank you for doing what you do.
our pleasure. Yeah, it's an honor to be able to do it.
And at the end of the episode, I actually want to pick you guys' brains about the things that we homesteaders, farmers, and ranchers need to be aware of regarding fires on our property, because I figure you're probably going to have some answers for me. But we can talk about that at the end. So tell me about this farm stand idea. How did you, I mean, you just said because you had so much, but tell me more.
Yeah, so last year around this time, I was driving home from work, and as I was pulling into, I live in a little gated community out here in the country. There's like 9 lots. We all have like 5 acres, and last year we decided to make our own farm stand so we could share the goods from our garden, or my daughter likes making baked goods, so she would put baked goods in it. And so we had this farm stand, which was off the beaten path and behind a gate. And I thought, as I was driving through the gate, I thought, if this ever was available to the public, how would they find it?
Yeah.
There are resources online that people currently use to market their farm stands and their farms. But you potentially are lost in the mix. It's really difficult to find what's close to you. And so I had the idea of developing an app, which is what Farmstand Fresh and Local came from. But I've had a lot of ideas for a lot of different little businesses in the past, and I usually bounce them off my wife first, and she shoots most of them down immediately, just because she knows all the time and effort it takes to start a business.
Yeah.
But this one was unique because she was in love with the idea from the start. and so was everybody else. And so that's when I thought, well, maybe I'm onto something. Nothing like this specifically for farm stands existed. There was some other apps that would market farms or farmers markets, but not specifically farm stands. And when the idea came about, I didn't realize that there was a farm stand movement that was kind of going to start. And so since then, yeah, I had to figure out how to develop this app. I am not a tech savvy individual, but I have a friend who is in that world, and so I started picking his brain. And I always envisioned somebody else developing the app, but that wasn't going to be feasible because I didn't have the funds to pay somebody to do so. So I had to research how to do it myself, using all the available resources to me. And yeah, so over the last about 8 months, I've spent hundreds, probably over 1,000 hours developing the app, constantly tweaking it, and I've got it to the point today where it works really well. It seems to be adding value to people's farm stands, and yeah, we're seeing pretty decent growth at the early stages we're at.
Very nice. Do you happen to know the average number of how many people use the app? Do you have any idea?
Well, daily average user. So we have about 515 farm stands nationwide. And originally we were trying to target locally first to build up density within our county or the state of Oregon. But once you get it on the App Store and Google Play, everybody has the opportunity to download it and to add farm stands. And so we have 515 farm stands nationwide. And we have about, we're nearing 3,000 downloads. And of those, about 100 people a day are using the app. And so we envision more people using the app once the inventory in the form of farm stands and small farms, once that grows, the consumers will then find value in the app and use it more regularly.
That makes all the sense in the world. Can I make a suggestion that you may have not thought about for the app if you want to keep playing with it?
Absolutely. We have a notepad right here.
Yeah. In the northern tier states, when we get into winter, we're not growing things outside like we were. But what we are doing is lots and lots of fall festivals and fall craft shows and things like that because people are getting ready to buy gifts for Christmas. Is there any way you could maybe add that kind of stuff in?
Absolutely. Yeah, farm stands. This thing is constantly evolving. Initially, it was fully focused on farm stands, and we want to do one thing well and not expand into a bunch of things too quickly. But we want to connect people with local goods, local, homegrown food, and fall festivals are right in that same line of thinking. We actually, John was talking about our county fair and 4-H. We just met a couple who live on a pumpkin patch, and they have a fall festival every year. So we're going to meet up with them probably this week, talk to them, see what they have, take some videos, and help promote their farm, and also put them on the app so people can find their farm when they're going out and looking for these pumpkin patches and fall festivals. So yeah, we're headed that direction. I don't know how many times in the past my wife and I have been looking for Christmas trees, and you want to find the best place and the best prices. Well, it's really difficult to do. So hopefully this app will fill that gap as well.
Awesome. I didn't know if it was on the radar yet, so I thought I would throw it out there for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We haven't had a Christmas tree for 2 years because Christmas trees are so freaking expensive now. Live trees, oh my God.
Yeah, what do they cost over there?
Oh, a really, really nice Christmas tree, like a balsam fir last year, a 6-foot tree was at least $60, and that was the low end.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty much the prices over here. They can, well, and they can the Christmas tree to have over here is probably a noble, and then there's Doug firs,
Mhm.
but they'll cost you anywhere from 50 to well over $100, depending on your location.
And
Yeah.
isn't Oregon one of the biggest Christmas tree growing states in the United States?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We actually grew them on our property over the last 10 years, and last year was the first year that we had them. But we leased our land to a big Christmas tree grower, and 5+ years ago, they were selling over 600,000 trees a year.
Mhm.
I think just in the Willamette Valley.
Yep. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. You guys live in one of the most beautiful locations on earth.
Well, thank you.
Not as beautiful as where I grew up, because I got to be loyal to the East Coast. But
Sure, absolutely.
Oregon, from what I've heard, is stunningly gorgeous. So
It's
okay,
fantastic.
so the app, people can use it for free.
Yes, yeah, it's totally free to anybody who wants to use it. And initially we thought, well, how are we going to monetize this to make it worth our time? Because it takes a lot of time away from our families.
Mhm.
And we initially thought, well, there'll be free features and there'll be premium features. Well, we quickly realized that we want people to use the app to its fullest. And if we are saying, hey, pay us, even though the app isn't built out with a bunch of inventory and people using it, people wouldn't want to use it. And so we made it completely free. And John and I and our wives said, you know what? If this thing succeeds and we get the users that we envision, then monetizing something later, not on the backs of the consumers and the farmers, it'll happen.
Mhm.
So right now it's completely free, and yeah, we want people to use it.
Yeah, and if I can jump in there too, I think there's this struggle with any app or any tool that is brought to a farmer or to a even to a consumer. It needs to be useful. Farmers are very busy people, and growing up on acreage and realizing the amount of work and time dedicated or required just to like farm is a lot. And so nobody wants to download something that's not useful to them. So we believe we've created something that is useful, but right now we're in the initial startup phases and the building phase of telling people that it's useful and informing them like the tools and features of it. And it's kind of this teeter totter of building users, building the platform with farm stands, and because nobody wants to be on the app if there's no farm stands on it, and no farm stands want to be on the app if there's not users. So we're trying to build both those simultaneously, which is a challenge, but I think we've seen constant steady growth, and we've gotten a lot of really good feedback. People like the idea, and yeah, so I think with that monetization side of it, it's always going to be free for the users. It has to be in order for it to be a useful tool.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that we started 3 years ago with our farm stand is I printed out our Venmo QR code, and we put it on the board that we have in our farm stand so people could pay using Venmo. And it's been great because people do want some way to pay that is digital. And I didn't even realize that Venmo had become the thing that people use to pay for things digitally. That seems to be the most
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I tell people when they ask me questions about the farm stand. They're like, how are you doing that? And I was like, you go to Venmo and they have a QR code and you print it and you put it somewhere where people can scan it with their phone.
Yeah, and that's the It's interesting too because it's in the Pacific Northwest. I'd say Venmo is the primary, digital platform to allow people to pay like that. Um, and regionally, like I have a brother who lives down in California, and down there it's like everybody has Cash App,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm like, okay, same thing. But there's all these tools now that make it a lot easier to have those transactions, seamlessly.
Yes, and one of the other things about farm stands that I've discovered over the last few years is you don't just have to have produce in there. You can have homemade lip balms or soaps or candles or goodies like, cupcakes or cookies. And humans are impulsive. There's a reason that they put candy in the checkout aisles. They're called impulse buys. And so if you have things in your farm stand that aren't necessarily produce or I don't know, eggs, people are very likely to buy a lip balm for $5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have some friends who have a farm stand locally, and one of the main things they sell is sourdough loaves. People
Mhm.
come home from work, they want to buy a sourdough loaf for dinner. Well, she also has cookies there, and she sells the cookies out just as fast as sourdough because people grab cookies and eat them on the way home.
Yeah, and then they ruin their dinner, geez.
Ah,
Um,
you know.
do I sound like a 56-year-old mom of 4 or what?
Yeah. But to just to finish up on the Venmo conversation, we in the future, hopefully sooner than later, we're going to add a feature of pre-orders, and
Mhm.
so people will be able to purchase products through people's pages via the app. And the idea came about. I was reading someone's Facebook post, and they were from Alaska, and they were wondering how they could keep their products from freezing in the wintertime. And so I reached out and talked to the person, and then I thought, well, if you could pre-order in Alaska, that would prevent your things from freezing because you could make them, have a time you could come pick them up, and they would be there, all paid for, and off you go. And this would apply for everywhere in the country. So that is to come.
Nice. Awesome. I'm so impressed. I just talked to another person. Um, Today is Tuesday. I think it was Friday. And his business is very much like yours. It's called Vine Stops, Vinestops.
Mm-hmm.
And I interviewed him. So I'm running 2 different farm stand things back to back this week.
No,
And
awesome.
and I try not to do that, try not to do things that are so close one after the other, but you guys are doing it differently than he is. He's doing it differently than you are. And there has to be competition in the market. There just has to be.
Fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that just proves there's a need to market farm stands and farms. So
Mhm.
the small town America farm sometimes gets missed, and we're all just trying to help promote them.
Exactly. And that's why I have this podcast because I want to promote farms and ranches and homesteads and bakers and crafters and people who are adjacent to those things. And you guys are actually, I don't know, farmerish and adjacent. So it works out great.
Yeah.
I had a question as I was trying to explain that I lost it. I know what it was. Does Oregon have cottage food laws like Minnesota does?
Yes. Yes, they
Okay.
do.
And is it in Minnesota right now, it's free to take the class and then take the test and then have your registration. Is that what it's like in Oregon?
I'm not 100% sure on that portion of it because I know there's business licensing and certain things that go along with that.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know if that's where I know there's a cost associated with that. But as far as like getting your cottage license and all that, I'm not 100% on that.
Okay, I'm just glad they have it because I think I could be wrong, but I think all 50 states have cottage food licensing or registration now. I think. Don't quote me. I mean, I'm being quoted because I'm being recorded, but whatever. I know that a grand majority of states have cottage food producers, and it's a wonderful thing. Okay, so we have like 6 minutes left, and I wanted to ask you guys about what people who live on acreage, even if it's only 1 acre, and they're doing homesteading or farming or ranching, what can we do to make sure that our places are safe if a wildfire comes?
You want me to take lead on that, Joe?
Take lead, John.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is having a plan for if there is a wildfire, right? Anticipating, um, do I have a dispensable space around my structures, right?
Mhm.
Is my firewood stacked right up against my house, right? And as when I grew up, that's how it was, you know? Do I have overgrown bushes or trees or, down in Southern Oregon, I always joke that it would be taken over by blackberries and poison oak if all humans left for 10 years, it's just there's so much foliage that is, if you just let it go, it can become a fire hazard. So making sure that you have a plan on, what would you grab if you had to leave in a hurry. Two, making sure that your home has a defensible space, and by that we mean keeping the trees trimmed back, the brush and all that, keeping debris off your roof, because most fires, when there's a big wildfire event that comes through, most of the fires most of the homes aren't lost on the initial flame front burning through. I mean, on rare occasions, like unfortunately we just saw in Spokane, or down in California last year, you get those crazy wind-driven fires, and yeah, it burns a whole neighborhood. But in general, in wildfires, it's the slow creeping fire that burns through the grass and then comes right up against the house and then catches the siding on fire. So just keeping your house, clean around it, and yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the biggest. Both Joe and I have been out on wildland deployments before, where one of the things we do as first responders is we try to get ahead of where the fire is going to be and triage homes, right? And we have different categories for those homes. Like, hey, this house is salvageable based on it doesn't have a bunch of stuff piled up against it. If there's things that we can do to like prep a home for a fire front coming through, we'll do that. But if there's too much stuff, we have to say, okay, this one's a write-off. We're going to have to go to the next one. And we try not to do that if at all possible. But there are, unfortunately, some of those homes that fall into that category just because it is unsafe for us to try to stay in there. Maybe it's an access issue too, where there's one way in and one way out, and there's no turnaround or something like that. So those are just a few things that people can do to try to better their or make their homes more resilient in the event of a wildfire. I did want to circle back one other thing back on the Farmstand app, if I
Yeah.
may. One of the cool things that Farmstand Fresh and Local does is we really want to empower people to support their neighbors, even if they don't have a farm themselves, but they know of their favorite farm stand or their favorite flower stand just down the street. Users can add that farm stand on the map. And I think that with empowering the users to be able to support their neighbors in that way and their farmers in that way, that's just kind of one of the cool features of this app. Is not too many other of the other apps that are out there have that feature. And so I think that that's kind of one of the unique things with ours, that we're trying to give empower people to help support their local farms, so that we can all eat healthier and help the local farms.
That's amazing. I love that. And as I keep saying, a rising tide raises all ships, and that's what you're doing. So fabulous. And I'm always saying on this podcast, we need to shop local, and we need to support our local producers, because we can't always rely on the local or federal government to come in and bail us out. If we are connected with our communities and we know who makes what and who grows what, we're better off shopping in our own little bubble.
Yep, I would agree.
100%. Yeah. And it makes us all healthier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know where your food's coming from. It's just better.
Yes. And you were saying that you had Zooks and Cukes last year.
Yeah.
We have tomatoes this year.
Okay. Yeah.
So many tomatoes. And my husband has been selling 10-pound flats for $25, and they're just
Wow.
gone. They're just gone. People are like, "Do you have tomatoes?" Yep, sure
That's
do.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, and I don't know. We're selling San Marzano tomatoes.
Oh,
They're
cool.
like aroma,
Yeah.
and beefsteaks. And I don't know if either one of those are determinate or indeterminate. So I don't know if we're going to be swimming in tomatoes until the first frost, which is supposed to be in like 3 weeks. Because we heard, I don't know, do you guys know this old story about how when you hear the first locust sing, 6 weeks from then is the first frost?
I have not heard that. That sounds like a Midwest thing, but
Okay.
I would buy that. Yeah, that's
I
reasonable.
heard him singing last night, so
Yep.
we're getting close.
Yep. I heard the first one 2 or 3 weeks ago on a Sunday night, and I went, well, I know when the tomatoes will be dead, 6 weeks from now.
That's awesome.
So, but anyway, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, just we have so many tomatoes. We're probably going to be giving some away here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because you can't let them go. You can't throw them away. You got to give them away.
No. Yeah.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Yep. Do you ever can any of them?
We do. We make tomato sauce for spaghetti sauce in the wintertime. And it is so good.
Yeah.
When we have to buy tomato sauce from the store, I'm like, God, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Well,
No.
let's build out the Farmstand app, and then you don't have to buy it at the store, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, guys, this has been wonderful. Where can people find you?
So we are. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, you first, John.
Okay. We are on both the App Store, the Apple App Store, and the Google Play Store. Just search for Farmstand Fresh and Local. We're also on social media with Facebook and Instagram under the tag Farmstand Fresh and Local, just all spelled out. Yeah.
All righty, awesome. You can find me at atinyhomestead.com, and I'm on Facebook at A Tiny Homestead Podcast. Thank you so much for your time, you guys, and thank you for the hints about trying to make the outcome better if you're faced with a wildfire barreling down at you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the work that you do.
100%. Thank you, Mary. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mary. It was nice meeting you.
You too.
All right. Thanks.